What's up, everyone? We are back today with a video that I wasn't going to do, and now that I'm doing it, I know I am very late to the party, now that we're over a month into the league, but I've seen enough comments on one of my other farming videos, people saying, you explained the Wildwood in like 2 minutes, that helped me a lot, thank you for being straight to the point with that. So I thought, okay, I'll do a quick video, just focusing on the Wildwood, and how to really maximize it. Let's get into it. To practice the Wildwood outside of maps, if you don't want to go to maps, you can go to your waypoint, and you can go to Act 10, Desecrated Chambers. No matter what level you are, there will always be a Wildwood here. Then once you practice a Wildwood, and you exit the Wildwood, you can just go to the waypoint, hold the Control command key, click on the waypoint, and click New Instance. This is how you just make a new instance of something, so that the Wildwood is good and fresh. Now, when we are in the Wildwood, we are going to see that it is laid out like this, the chart that everyone has seen a million times. This is indeed how it is laid out. There are 4 events, north, south, east, and west. You can spawn anywhere on this map, but you can kind of pinpoint where you are by how many wisps you spawn in with. Now, you can see on this one, there are some yellow wisps around, but it is not a ton, it's not multiple colors, but we are probably generally close to the middle. We could be on the outside here. We do not know, but your main goal is to find one event first and get kind of your grounding. There's 2 types of white wisps. Those are the ones that can extend your time, the small ones, and these are the large ones. They just reveal an area around you. These are side by side. You can see exactly the difference between them. If you're ever in doubt, it's probably a large wisp. If you look and you're like, okay, that one's tiny, you know that for sure, but for your reference, here they are side by side. Before you start the Wildwood, yes, you can turn your window into more of a full screen mode so you can see more of the left and the right. It just makes the horizontal wider. It does help a little bit. It's not completely necessary, but if you want to do that, you just escape. You go to options, go to windowed mode, hit keep changes. You go to the very top corner. You drag your window down a little smaller. You can put this up in the middle, and then you just go to the right and drag it until you can see black bars on the left and right of your screen. I can probably make this a little smaller, just to make the black bars a little bit more pronounced. You can see the black bars right there. Hit save before you close it, or else it'll revert back. Now you can see more of the left and right, and then if you want to go back to your normal mode, you can just click maximize if you don't mind having this white bar. Then next time you run a map, you can just hit minimize and it'll save what you had before. Not 100% necessary. Some people do really like the extra space. It does help a little bit. Not, but you know, if you want to do it, you can. That's just how you do it if you want to. A couple quick tips when you go in. The first thing I usually do is I hit my F button to swap to my weapons because I have a portal gem in there. I just don't like to use a ton of town portal scrolls for this. I immediately put up a town portal just to put one icon on the map because you cannot see anything in here. Your mini-map's not disabled, but practically useless except for these markers. Now when you start to find things like events and everything and you don't feel like running around, another cool trick is you can drop something that will show up on your loot filter. Say, like I throw a Mesa map down here, and now I have a red square, so you can kind of get your bearings if you hit tab. Again, you could just have your overlay, so you can kind of put little breadcrumbs around just to get, you know, kind of a sense of where you've been, and if you need to find a certain spot you want to go back to. So for this one and for this example, this is a worst case scenario. You go in, you have no idea where you are, you see absolutely no wisps, and you don't see any monsters coming at you. So what you want to do is first find the first event. So you're going to try and find the closest trail of wisps, or the closest trail of monsters coming at you, where you can follow the monsters. So we can just kind of dance around, hopefully find something to come at us. Okay, there's some blue wisps. We're going to follow this down here, and there are some monsters, so we're going down here and find the first event, which will hopefully be any second now. Right here. Okay, this is Black Morgan. Drops a whole bunch of blue wisps. Keep in mind, this is not a juiced map or anything like that. We're just doing Desecrated Chambers. So the pack size is very small, so these numbers are going to be lower than they would. This would probably be up to about 3,000 already with the monsters that we killed on the way. Maybe a little bit less. Alright, so we found our first event. How do we tell which event we are at? Well, if we go back to the map, how did we get here? Well, there were no wisps when we first spawned in. So we were somewhere on the outside. We weren't in the center. Okay, we had to go left, and then we went down, which means I highly doubt it was this one, because I highly doubt we spawned up at the very edge, and I didn't see a wall at the top. So I don't think it's this one. we went to the left and down. I don't think we spawned on the very edge of the map. I didn't see a wall specifically on the right or anything like that. So I don't think it's this one, which means I think it is one of these two that we just found. Alright, so again, I think we are right here, but I am not sure. Now you can check, and since we came into this area from the left, we already have some left, so I can go check for a wall here, so that's probably the option. If you do not want to waste any of your wisp power and just take a leap of faith, you could say, okay, I think the next one is this way, or the fact we came a little bit from the top, smart one would try to be to get to this one. So I am probably going to check for a wall over here, and then probably go up here since we already have this a little bit revealed, because I am not sure. I think this is where we spawn, and I think there was a little plateau hill here. That was that little wall in the beginning. I think that is a red herring, so I would go up there. So just for the sake of this, let's check if I go over here. There is a wall. I do not think that is a hill. That is a wall. I think that is the far left one. I'm going to make my way back up and follow a wisp trail and try and get back to the top center. Do not get all of these wisps until the end. You do not want to risk taking any of the power away by grabbing these. After the portal spawns and you are done with the Wildwood, you can go back there. So I'm going to take a risk, and I am going to try and get to the event in the top center. That is another hill. We'll go around. This is probably not the best example for one, but I'm not going to edit it to show you. Sometimes you just get bad luck. And the event was probably going to be up there. Not the greatest one. We didn't get an extension orb, but still not terrible. We got 2,000 blue again. After you do the map, you can just run around and get all of the wisps that you did not get before. This was a juice map. This would probably be higher. If we went and got some more purple and stuff like that. This would be worth running, probably 3,000 blue at the end of it, and probably 1,000 purple. So that would be worth running. This example, I started next to some wisps, so I'm just going to follow the trail, follow the enemies, try and find the first event. There are enemies coming from here. I'm assuming it's down here. There it is. There's an extension orb. You can tell it's tiny. And there is a merchant. I'm going to save these and not get these until the portal pops. Going to get the extension. Now, I'm going to take a peek down here and see that there seems to be the floor. Yep, so I'm going to assume this is the south point, so I'm going to move to the upper left to get the other, to try and find the other event. There is a big orb. Do not go out of your ways to get these again. I think I might have mentioned that. Go out of your way for the extension orbs, the big ones. Only get them if they were on your path, which this one was. So I'm going to keep going up, following the wisps, and trying to find the next event that I'm assuming should be up here somewhere. There it is. So now I know that I was on the south, then I hit the one on the west. Now the next one I want to go for is on the north, and I did get an extension orb, so hopefully I have enough. I'm going to leave these wisps to get after it pops. I am going to make a break for the top center. There's a little bit of a hill there. Going to ignore that. Going to keep going and trying to find the third event. Now I didn't, but I got 2 events. That's perfectly fine. Again, this is a consecrated chambers, or whatever it's called. Where the hell am I? Desecrated chambers. And this would be higher if I was in a map with more pack size. You know, go back, go along the outside, rim it a little bit, and get all the wisps, and then run your map. Another example, you see we spawn in, there's a lot of wisps around. I am going to put down my town portal just to mark where I spawn in, so I don't forget, and I'm going to follow one of these. Now, I like blue wisp spreader for the currency drops, so I generally would go up here first and hopefully see some enemies coming out. I don't. I'm going to go over here, follow the yellow a little bit, see if I can get some enemies to come out. No, I don't, but I do see some blue here too. Looks like the wisp density is a little bit better, and I see an enemy come from the top. Let's see what's up here, and there is the first event. Now, I do see some wisps up here, but I do think that's a dead end, and we can always go back and get these after it pops. So I'm going to go back towards the center where I spawned, and I am now going to follow the left, and I think there's going to be another event on the bottom east side. So we can go down here, hopefully. Yep, there it is. So now we know where we are. Found one on top, found one on the left. So if we go back to the chart, we can see we found this one and this one. So we can go back to the center, we can go to the right, or we can go to the bottom, whichever one probably has more wisps following it. Now this is where you want to be careful not to go through areas that you didn't explore, because the events are more important and following the wisp trails most of the time. So we can go down here around this hill. Go down here, and the event should be anywhere around here. Some monsters coming from down here. Now sometimes this isn't an exact science. And here, this was the third event. We just barely got there. Get these. Kill the enemies. Again, this is Desecrated Chamber, so it's not blue or even a rare map rarity. It's not a map, so the numbers are going to be lower. Then I would go back and just go around the edges and pick up everything that I missed. A couple closing thoughts, guys. The Wildwood is very RNG heavy. Where you spawn and how easy it is to tell where you are can be very difficult. So you're going to have to come up with your own rule of thumb when running maps. If you are running them just simply for any kind of juicing or anything like that. My rule of thumb is usually about 3,000 wisps. Sometimes I break that rule and I'll run something that I only got maybe a total of like 2,000 wisps. Or I had got 3,000 but it was only of one color exactly. That is not really worth it, and then I run the map and it's garbage. And, you know, it would have just been better if I would have moved on. Started a new map and tried another time. But if you are just running a map to say for any strategy I had with delirium and harvest farming or anything like that, it's perfectly fine that if you get a crappy Wildwood to just finish the map, obviously. But if you are juicing and you're doing it just to try and get as much as possible, and say you're doing Abyss and Legion and Beyond and Delirium and doing that stuff, you need to find out your own cutoff point. Again, mine's around 3,000 wisps. If I get 2,000 one color and 1,000 of another, I'm good to go. Or if I get 1,000 Vol 3, adding up to 3,000, I will run that. Anything lower, you might just want to skip it if you're doing it just for juicing. Remember, don't get baited by the big white wisps that just reveal an area. They are not worth it to go out of your way for. These smaller ones that extend your time are worth going out of your way for if you see them. You can use travel skills like Blink Arrow. People love Blink Arrow because it has a very long range and you kind of skip over some of the reveal, you know, saving some juice for yourself. And there's no time in the Wildwood, so you can take your time, which I guess is another point you saw in that last example. I started to just run kind of quick. I am very impatient with the Wildwood. That's on me. You got to see one of my faults with the Wildwood. I just want to get it over. But in the beginning, to get the really high juice, take your time. There's no time limit in the Wildwood. Just go very meticulously through. Try and find the walls. Find where you are. Even if you don't spawn next to wisps, you can still salvage it. Because even though you might not be next to some of the wisps, you very well could be close to an event. You could spawn right here and there'd be no wisps, but you see a couple wisps. You go down, find an event immediately, and you see a wall. You already know where you are. You can either go to the middle, try and get more wisps, and then start hitting the events, especially if you get an extension orb. But at that point, you probably would want to just take the closest and quickest path and just try to go to the bottom one or the top one. That's basically it, guys. I might have missed a couple things, and I know that wasn't the best example. I tried to make the video a little bit quicker, and also since I'm so late to making this video, people are already sick about hearing how the Wildwood works and the strategy, but I thought I would throw my 2 cents in there. So if you liked the video and it helped you, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that I missed. Make sure you go follow over there on twitch.tv/SafeOnTalk, where I stream quite a bit, and there's a whole bunch of good people. As long as join the Discord, there's also a lot of good people on there. So until next time, guys, yeah, enjoy the Wildwood, and we will catch you on the next one.